Well, hello there, health coaches. We have been talking a lot about online courses recently. Anybody out there interested in creating an online course? I've been hearing about it in our Health Coach Power Community Facebook group. I've been hearing about it from our HPU members. And the number one sentiment that seems to come up one way or another when it comes to online courses is it's so overwhelming, right? Like, I get it. I get it. It's like planning a wedding, especially if you've never planned a wedding before. There's all these moving parts, and you just know that you're forgetting something, right? Like you're going to forget to order the wedding cake, and then it's going to be a total disaster. Or that's the story that we tell ourselves anyway. But I can assure you, I can really deeply assure you that I have made many, many mistakes in over a decade of building online courses, but the successes far outweigh the failures. And that's why I'm here talking about it today. So to make things easier and less overwhelming, I've broken down the course creation process into 5 simple steps that we will get into. I'm going to be sharing that with you today. This is also, you can consider this a sneak peek into my Create Your Online Course Bootcamp, which starts October 1st. Now, bootcamp is completely free. So if you like what you hear in this episode, definitely join us for our free 5-day bootcamp at healthcoachpower.com/bootcamp. I'm going to drop that link right now over here in our Facebook group. So if you aren't already registered, head on over there, healthcoachpower.com/bootcamp. Now, if you are here live as I'm recording today, whether you're on Instagram or you're on Facebook, tell me in the chat, what part of online courses feels most overwhelming for you? Like, what is it? Is the picking a topic? Is the where am I going to find the clients? Is it the technology? Where does your brain throw up a big barrier and just go, oh, can't do it? And please ask questions as we go along, because I definitely have my eye on the chat area over here in the Facebook group, and I'd be happy to take your questions. On Instagram, I'm looking at you too. It's a little harder for me to see over the top of my monitor. Before we get into our 5 simple steps to create your online course, this episode is brought to you by Primal Health Coach Institute. Now, did you guys know that they have a special, speaking of online courses, did you know they have a special certification program online that's available all about gut health? It's their human intestinal microbiome certification program. It is open to all health coaches. You do not need to be a Primal Health Coach to take advantage. This certification program was developed in partnership with Dr. William Davis, who's a cardiologist and New York Times bestselling author of Wheat Belly. I bet you've read that. And I think this is really cool because I know how much I love to nerd out. You love to nerd out. We all love to nerd out on this stuff. So I have a way for every single one of my listeners to get the first lessons of the course for free, like a little sneak peek. You can head over to healthcoachpower.com/microbiome, and then you will get those first lessons. Check them out. And if you decide to take it from there, go for the full certification program, you'll get 25% off the program just for being part of my community. So if you're helping your clients, if you're interested in helping your family members or yourself with things like food intolerances, this course is going to teach you about food intolerances and what they tell us about the microbiome. You're going to learn about specific disease states that are stemming from various microbiome disruptions, and how to identify and manage microbial overgrowth. All of that and much more. But the first step is to get a peek into the course for free, right? Why not? Learn yourself something new. Those free human intestinal microbiome lessons are waiting for you at healthcoachpower.com/microbiome. By the way, we are like literally the only group of people on earth who get excited about this, get excited at the sound of human intestinal, like anything, which I think is funny. Not a lot of podcasts are enticing listeners out there with intestines. You know what I mean? We take online courses all the time, though. We love this stuff. Online courses are such an accessible way to learn, do it in our own time. It's generally so much less expensive than attending schools in person. These are the same reasons that online courses can work for you to reach more clients. Although I am going to warn you right now, most normal people out there, like non-health coaches, they don't want to hear about intestines. That's just us. Let's just keep the intestines talk between you and I. Okay. I've got plenty more hot tips coming if you like that one. So let's break it down. What are we overwhelmed about? Marissa is saying here that no one will show. She's going to have an online course and she's going to sell it, and then no one's going to show up. Marissa, I actually have a solution for you. We're going to talk about that extensively in the next week or two. So keep your ears open. Maybe I'll touch on it a little bit today. But there is that fear. And it's not just a fear. It is a huge waste of time. If you put a ton of effort into something, right, Marissa? This is what we don't want to happen. And then no one buys, nobody comes, nobody wants your course. So we got to do it the other way around. I have the total solution for this because I don't want to be in that position either. Nobody does. Let's break it down step by step. Again, this is a little bit of a preview for what we're going to be covering during boot camp. I'm going over here on Instagram for a second because I see that McAaron25 says creating the content, finding the clients, and the technology for sure. That's all the stuff that feels overwhelming for her. Let's just start at the beginning. I know it's a lot. So first, and this may be surprising, no one ever talks about this. I don't ever hear any of you mention this. So I don't think it's on your radar. There are different kinds of courses. There are different kinds of online courses. So you're going to have to determine what type of course is going to serve your business best right now. This is a business decision. It's kind of like going in your closet to like pick out an outfit. Before you can decide on what color you want to wear or what style you're going for today, you got to know the purpose. You got to know the purpose of your online course too. Like, for example, if you're standing in your closet, okay, fine. Like, are you about to go to a black tie wedding? That will dictate what happens next, right? Are you going camping? It's going to be a totally different outfit, right? So first, what type of outfit, what type of online course, and then you can decide the rest from there. What type of course is going to make sense for you right now? Because here's what happens. Too often, and I've been seeing a lot of this in our Facebook group, coaches get the idea in their head for a course, something, they've taken courses, they've seen courses. Oh, I want to do something like that. And it's way beyond where they are in their practice right now, or it's way more complicated than it needs to be. And I see coaches spend weeks, months, years putting this course together. And then in the end, Marissa, what happens? Nobody buys. Nobody shows up for it. This is the pits. We don't want this. Or the other thing that happens is because it's taking so long, because they've basically, they bit off more than they could chew, they never finish putting the course together. And again, nobody buys, right? Because there's no course. So during bootcamp, we were going to talk about the 3 distinct types of courses, and then you can decide which one is right for you right now. So you don't bite off more than you can chew. You have something that you can actually implement. You can actually go start to finish and profit from. This is very, very important, as you can imagine, for avoiding that overwhelmed feeling. Makes sense, right? So if you've never thought about an online course like this before, that's okay, right? That's what I'm here for. We want to start with what is the business goal? What am I trying to achieve? Is it realistic? Is it strategically sound? And I'm going to, again, just highly recommend that you join us for bootcamp so we can discuss this in much more detail at healthcoachpower.com/bootcamp. All right, next step. Figured out what kind of course you're going to create. Okay. Now, again, coaches tend to think of their course as being is informational, right? Like what kind of information am I going to teach in my course? Am I going to give in my course? And courses can be informational. They most often will contain a component of sharing information, but as coaches, we are generally offering online services, online courses rather, and any of our services as a health coach to, yes, maybe teach information, but really what we're here for is to help our clients implement what they learn, what they know they need to do for themselves, create sustainable habit change, creating a transformation. And that's what we're after, not just teaching stuff. We're not teachers. So I think this is the juicy part of being a coach, not just being like, you should drink this many ounces of water, but actually helping someone start to do that day in and day out in their lives, right? This is the good stuff. So the second step of course development, I don't want you to think about picking a topic because that's like the information. I'm going to pick this topic and then I'm going to share a bunch of information about it, blah, blah, blah. No. Instead, we want to define the transformation that someone will get by going through your course. This is subtle, but it's different. You want to think, why will they join? Why will they be motivated to join? If it's a course about, the keto diet, fine, but why do they want that? Or if the course is about brain health, okay, who is that for? And what do they want to get as a result of joining? So we're going to brainstorm topic ideas. We're going to reframe them in a way that is client-centered, not top-down, not I'm going to teach people about X, Y, Z, but rather who is this course for and what is the transformation that they want? I'm going to walk you through this process. So if you're not sure right now, that's okay. Although if you do have an idea for your course, I would love to see that in the chat. Even if you're not at the point of thinking about the transformation, but what type of content are you even thinking about? And then we'll figure out the rest and we'll get more strategic together during boot camp next week. Now, step 3, and we're going to be doing this, is creating a content plan. What is the course going to include? And like I said, there's going to be information in it, but there's probably going to be other stuff in it too. This part can get, I'm just going to warn you, this part can get totally out of control if you're not careful. So I'm going to show you a very simple way to plan your content and keep it within an appropriate scope. Just like we have a scope of practice, right? Or like anything. If you go into a grocery store and you're like, do you sell rubber bands? They might say yes, they might say no. That's right on the edge of like the scope of what a grocery store might sell. If you go into a grocery store and you ask if they sell puppies, definitely not, right? Like as with anything in life, there's going to be things that are included and things that are excluded. You cannot teach every single thing you know about health and wellness in one online course. You just can't, right? It would go on forever. Also, nobody wants to learn every single thing you know about health and wellness. So it becomes overwhelming for you. It becomes overwhelming for your clients if you put a course together that way. Nobody wins. But when you do those first 2 steps that we talked about, you know the size and the scope of your course. You're very clear on that. And you know who it's for. Depending on the type of person, you might teach a little, right? But instead, I want you to emphasize helping somebody implement a few key habits, not teach them everything you know. And with that, you'll find that then there's no need to go down this rabbit hole of like overwhelm where you're like, oh, I'm going to have to create 147,000 video lessons. That might actually be the wrong way to present your course. And you certainly don't need 147,000 lessons because that would be too many for everyone. You're never going to get this course done. You might only need 1. Swear, you might only need 1. And it doesn't even have to be a video. Now, what do you think about that? Does that take away some of the overwhelm when I say that? Because I think I just heard a giant exhale. Everybody's like, what? I don't have to make videos? What? I don't have to have a full library full of these perfectly edited videos? Oh my God. Just breathe. I told you, we're going to make it simple. We're going to make it doable. I was just talking to a health coach earlier today, and what I told her was this. When you see online courses that are out there, you see something that's been in development, you don't know. Some of my courses have been in development for nearly 10 years. So what you see is pretty polished, right? Sometimes it's pretty slick. I assure you they did not start that way. And if you try to start that way, I can almost guarantee that you will fail. Right? It's just like anything. It's like learning how to cook. You always learn the basics first. If you have a client who doesn't know how to cook, are you going to be like breaking out the French cuisine and being like, let's start with this very complicated recipe? No, of course not. You're going to be like, let's make eggs. And it's kind of like that with your online course too. You got to start with something that's doable, that's manageable in the beginning, and then you can always get ninja with it later. So keeping it simple is very important as we move into step number 4. And this is where a lot of the overwhelm comes in. This is also the part that everybody jumps on first. You know, like I read over here from Instagram, one of our comments said about the technology being overwhelming. Listen, please, there is no benefit, there is no use to thinking about technology until after you have defined the size and the scope of your course, after you have an idea of the content that you're going to be sharing and the format that you're going to be sharing it in. So you jump in the gun if you're thinking about it already. I'm going to repeat this. Do not spend a single minute hashing out which online platform to use until you've gone through steps 1, 2, and 3. I put technology as the 4th step for a reason, very much on purpose. It's so overwhelming. You know, you got to decide, oh, where am I going to host the course? And the truth is, you probably don't need any fancy or expensive course platforms out there. It's very likely you do not need that. We're going to be discussing this more during bootcamp. I will be showing you how to bring your course to life with as little technology as possible. Because that's the kind of thing, you know, you can waste a whole day going down a rabbit hole of some little tech problem that you're having. We do not have time like that. I know I don't in my life. I'm sure you don't either. Let's just get your course done and out there, and we're going to do it in the smoothest way possible. We don't want all this tech stuff tripping you up. I find that coaches spend far too much money here. They get into the weeds of like trying to learn these new systems and new tools. And again, you probably don't even need them. And there's so much overwhelm that can be avoided. Promise. So we're going to keep it simple. That's what step 4 is going to be about, paring your course back to the most doable, most achievable, least frustrating format and presentation possible. Sound good? Thumbs up? Love it. And finally, let's move on to step 5 of your course creation process. Now, I bet you think step 5, if you've been listening along this whole time, I bet now you're like, okay, Michelle, this is where we start building everything, right? Like we're going to start writing and I need outlines, and then I'm going to like be recording video. So then I need lighting and I need a camera. Oh my gosh, I need a teleprompter, right? Again, overwhelm. We're going to be editing stuff. We're going to be uploading things. This is absolutely not step 5. It's not, because you don't even know if you have a course yet. You think you have a course, you have an idea for a course. Okay, that's something, but you don't have a course yet. You don't have a course until, listen to me, Marissa, because I'm coming back to your comment in the beginning that you're worried that no one will show up for it. You don't have a course until you get paid to build your course, until someone hands you money or a minimum number of people give you money. You don't have a course, you just have an idea. And why would you spend hours and hours and hours building on a hope, a wish and a prayer, right? Instead, I want to see you get paid to build your course. You are not going to waste all that time putting together something and then what if no one shows? And it does happen when coaches go about it in the wrong order. I hate that it happens, but it happens all the time. Health coaches say, well, I already have an online course, Michelle, but it just sits there. By the way, is that any of you? Does anyone here today already have an online course and you're wondering why no one's buying it, right? And then when that happens, most often what I hear next is, I need to learn how to advertise my course better. Right? I need more advertising. I need to run Facebook ads to my course that no one is buying. No, wrong path, back up the truck. You need a course that is proven that people want to buy. And the only way to ensure you have that is to sell it and have people give you their money, not just their word, but their money to prove that they're interested before you build a darn thing. So step 5, I know this sounds weird, but it is to sell your course before you do anything else, because if it doesn't sell, then there is no course. I think of it as failing fast. I really like that idea. I try to remember it a lot in my business. Like, Nobody wants to fail, but if you're going to fail, you might as well fail fast and just get it over with. I would rather nix a course idea in the early stage when I've spent like 3 hours thinking about it than after spending months and months thinking about it, developing it, spending money producing it, right? Fail fast. So that's why in step 5, we sell the course, and it doesn't require webinars. It does not require sales pages. It definitely does not require Facebook ads or anything like that. Not at this stage of the game. That would be entirely putting the cart in front of the horse. And I'm going to share more about that again inside our Create Your Online Course 5-day bootcamp starting October 1st. I cannot wait to see you there. It's at healthcoachpower.com/bootcamp. And I see we have a question over here. Marissa's saying, what about mock-ups? People like to get blurbs or examples of what they're going to get. That's one way to sell a course. Let me think. Have I ever given someone an example of what they're going to get in any of my courses? I don't think I have. I've seen it done. I'm not saying that's not a valid thing to do, but it's certainly not something that you have to do. What you do have to do is be able to communicate the transformation that someone's going to get by going through your course. And sometimes when you do get into the particulars with people, especially around health coaching, this applies to your one-on-one coaching just the same as it applies to an online course. Like, let's say, for example, one of the things that you're going to want someone to do as part of your course is to eat more dark leafy green vegetables. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not how you sell it. You sell it by saying, this course, this program, this whatever, coaching relationship, by the end of it, you're going to have more energy. By the end of it, the goal is for you to lose weight. The goal is for you to, the thing that they want. And sometimes, even though that's going to include eating more vegetables and drinking more water and all the things, telling them about those particulars can actually have the opposite effect that we want our marketing to have. It can have someone go, oh, I don't really want to do that. Or, oh, I've already tried that, and their brain is always thinking for a reason to say no. So instead you talk about the thing that they want. In advertising, as you know, many of you know, I used to work in big advertising. So there's this very famous saying, you don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle. And in our world of health coaching, even if you are a vegan, I still want you to sell the sizzle, because that is that end result that they want. So the more you can talk to them about the problem that they're having, how well you understand them, how well you understand what it means for their life right now, like that example that I just gave of having more energy, that means something entirely different to someone who's like 23 years old in their first job right out of college, and they're still partying all weekend with their friends. They want more energy. That means something very different to a mom of 4 who homeschools, right? And more energy means something totally different to like the grandparent who is now retired and wants to spend more time on the golf course and with their grandkids, So the more you can understand a particular type of person and their needs and their wants, like that's how you sell a course, not by saying, well, here's the first thing, you're going to eat more kale. You're going to have more oat bran for breakfast. That might just turn them right off. But it's a great question. And like I said, it can be done right. It can be done well. But particularly in this field, it's not the way that I would go about it, probably. In any case, hoping to see you all at boot camp. We start October 1st. That is coming up so very quick. So if you're not already registered, you can join us for free. We have hundreds and hundreds of health coaches already signed up. So it's going to be a party. Just go head over to healthcoachpower.com/bootcamp. Thanks for being here today, everybody. I will see you soon.